Let's be completely honest, finding time to read theology during your day can be a battle. You might get 5 minutes in on your lunch break and that's it. Now you're thankful that you have time to read theology at all, but you honestly know it's not enough. So I want to share with you 7 ways you can double your theology reading output, things that you can start using right now, today. The first tip is what I call my golden rule, which is to read what you want to, both in general, but also in the moment. The golden rule I would define is reading something is better than reading nothing. Now, I'm a very goal-oriented person, or should I say I've become a very goal-oriented person in my adult life. I wasn't necessarily when I was a teenager. And so I tend to not do something unless it's my explicitly stated goal. But now I tend to overcorrect in that direction. And sometimes I need to have more liberty to depart from that goal in the moment so I actually read. I will deliberately not read because I'm not reading the book that I chose to read this week, and that can be a problem. So what defines a book that you want to read? Well, the book should be, first of all, a quality book. It should be from a reputable source, publisher. It should be ideally something that other people have said is a worthwhile read. It should be something that's aligned to your personal theological or practical Christian life goals. It should be something that's actually going to help you grow in wisdom in a certain area. And it's also something that you should be interested in reading in that moment. For example, the book Lectures to My Students by Spurgeon is one that ticks all 3 of those boxes for me, generally speaking. But sometimes that third one, the interest to read this in the moment, on a given day or at a given time in the day, I may not feel like reading this. For example, the other day I wanted to move from that and just pick up the 1689 Confession, which is something I've read multiple times in the past, and just flick through it. And that was how I spent my time. Now, if you want to find books that are quality, aligned to different goals, and are just interesting in general, I highly encourage you to go check out my free Ultimate Reformed book list down below. It's got over 400 books categorized by date published, how many pages, the difficulty level, got a little 1-sentence summary of each book so you know what it's about. So go grab that, and let's move on to the second tip, which is to have a limited number of books on the go. And I think this ties in directly to the last point, because more book options that you feel like reading at different points in the day or the week means you're going to read more. It is good, like I said, to set a particular goal for getting through a certain portion of a book in a given week. My homegrown theologian students know that I stress the importance of setting weekly study goals. And yes, that is because finishing books are essential for growing in godly wisdom. You shouldn't just be reading portions or part of books. You should be finishing them. For example, my goal this week is to finally finish Lectures to My Students. I've got a little bit left at the end of the book there, you can see. But it's also good to have that number of different books on the go that you can turn to in general. I may not this week feel like reading this every single day or every single moment of every day, but I'd rather just read something. So I tend to have 3 to 5 books on the go, so to speak, these days that I read from. For me, for example, it's, Lectures, and that's my main book I'm planning on reading this week. I've also got my 2 1689 expositions, Rob Ventura's one and James Renahan's To the Judicious and Impartial Reader. I'm reading these, and I have been reading those for a while, but I'm getting back into them now because my seminary studies actually require it. I'm also listening to the audiobook of The Path to Being a Pastor by Bobby Jameson. I've recently entered the ministry, so it's helpful to have these things in my mind that he's covering in the book. And I'm also, of course, reading my Bible, which is over there under my headphones, so I can't grab it right now. And that's a key. Always make sure your Bible is one of those 3 to 5 books. And that way you'll have enough variety to always have something you feel like reading. I recommend picking different varieties of books for those 3 to 5. For example, if you're reading a heavy systematic theology or classic work like John Calvin's Institutes, maybe pick something shorter and lighter, maybe like a Sinclair Ferguson, more modern work, or an R.C. Sproul type book. Maybe have one that's more practical, one that's more heavy on the theological underpinnings, maybe biblical or systematic theology. You get the point. Number 3 tip is to have multiple reading slots throughout the day, because if you have more slots, you're simply going to be having more opportunities to read. Now, the point is not to use all of those slots every day, although you should try to as much as you can. And I recommend trying to have 3 different slots max. This is an idea that I borrowed from the Puritans. Can't remember which one it was. It may have been Richard Baxter, but they basically have 3 times throughout the day that they would read: morning, noon, and night. I did cover this in a video. I'm just, the Puritan in mind is evading my memory right now. So I'll leave a link to my Puritan reading tips video below. But you could adjust that to your own circumstances, right? It may not look like morning, noon, and evening. It might look like on the way to work, on the train, on the way from work, and then when the kids are in bed. Maybe those are your 3 slots. Or for me, it's right before I start work at home, after lunch, and then in the evenings, right? So those are my 3 more specific examples. If all you can do is start with 1 slot a day, that's fine. But as soon as you're able, try and identify multiple, regular, repeatable slots that you can slot your reading in throughout the day. Number 4 tip is to redeem extra reading time throughout the day. In Homegrown Theologian, I distinguish between core reading time and extra reading time, or spontaneous reading time. The difference is that your core times are the times you read every day, like I just mentioned, whether it's 1 slot, 3 slots, whether it's 30 minutes, 5 minutes, an hour in each of those slots. But extra reading time is redeeming the time, and that's a scriptural principle that comes up throughout the day. My heart behind this is basically make reading a default activity in your life. Most people's default activity is picking up their phone and scrolling. Something I still struggle with, and many people who earnestly want to study and read theology still struggle with. But as much as you can, even though the dopamine hit is not as strong, reorient that to reading books. Take a book with you everywhere you go. In the car, when you go for a walk, around the house when you move into different rooms. I like to have this helpful checklist of phone, wallet, keys, book. Whenever I go somewhere, book is one of those essential items that I am always trying to remember these days. And the key here is, even if you don't end up reading it when you are out, it's still a worthwhile habit. For example, I had to run a few errands a couple of days ago. I had like 5 or 6 different places I had to stop between picking up a new gas bottle, going and getting a couch cushion repair looked at, picking up some groceries and other little bits and pieces. And I thought maybe while I'm waiting for one of those appointments, I would have to wait and maybe I can read my book. And I didn't end up actually reading it. It just sat in the car, and that was fine because there was no opportunity to. But I don't regret bringing it, because if an opportunity did arise, I would have used it. And there have been other times where I've been waiting for doctor's appointments, other medical appointments, been in hospital for various reasons, and I've had plenty, sometimes hours of time to read unexpectedly. Now, speaking of reading and making the most of those extra times throughout the day, number 5 tip is to use multiple formats for books. Multiple formats simply means multiple opportunities to read. You can have a physical book that you take with you or have around the house. It's tangible. There's a physical trigger there to read it, and it's easy just to crack it open, and that's it. You could also take a digital reader or a Kindle device around with you, which is slightly more portable for certain circumstances. For example, if you're popping down a quick walk around the block and you just want to chuck it in your pocket because you've got your hands full, you could easily fit a book on your phone, of course, or a thin digital Kindle e-reader or something like that in your pocket, and it's really easy to take around. And having an audiobook, something you can listen to in the car, or when your hands are busy, you're making dinner, or you're working in the garden, or you're mowing the lawn, you can redeem the time by using an audiobook. For example, before I mentioned The Path to Being a Pastor by Bobby Jameson is a book that I've been listening to on my audiobook when I go for walks, when I mow the lawn, and it's been a blessing to make the most of that extra time. Now, not all books should be audiobooks. I tend to not read super deep, heavy theological books on audiobook because I often want to go back and reread parts. I did this most recently a couple years ago. I, again, try not to do it often these days, with Voddie Baucham's Expository Apologetics. Wonderful book, but there were so many times where I was listening to it and thinking, I wish I read this in the physical format. It would have been such a richer experience. So be selective which books you choose for audiobooks, but still redeem the time. If you just want to read fiction as a breakup from your theological reading, which I actually encourage my homegrown theologian students to do, maybe that's what you can use your audiobook time for. Number 6 tip is to put books down and pick new ones up. Have the liberty to leave books unfinished. Not only should you have multiple on the go that you're bouncing between, but you have 2 options you can do with a book that you don't want to finish. You can put it on pause, which means you're indefinitely not wanting to read that right now. It's not one of your main books on rotation. It's not a book you're actively planning on reading, but it's a book you do want to return to at some point. And in my Homegrown Theologian program, I distinguish that from abandoning a book. Abandoning a book is when you literally have no intention to read it again. In fact, you're probably going to get rid of it unless, you're having it just there for research purposes or something like that. But you should have the liberty to make those decisions. If you just don't feel like this book is contributing or helping you right now, look, it may even be a great book, but be honest with yourself that you're just not reading this for whatever reason. Okay, I'm going to put that one down and pick up a new one. Oftentimes we've got books on rotation. Maybe it's the main book we're even reading that week, the book we've had a goal to finish or get through half the chapters or whatever it may be. And we're like, actually, as much as I had the intention, as much as the reviews were great, as much as it is aligned with the goal I have, right now this is just not doing it for me. So I'm going to put it away and have the liberty to pick something else up in its place. For example, I put down John Calvin's Institute. I kind of basically got to the end of book 1 of 4 and decided I'm going to come back to this, absolutely. But I need to prioritize those 2 books you see back on my shelf there right now. And so that's been my decision. Part of it was because those 2 were aligning with my seminary studies, so it just kind of made sense. And let's go on to the last tip, number 7, which is to stay consistent. The more consistency you have in reading, yes, every day means you're going to read more. Daily reading builds up the habit, which builds the muscle so that you can read for longer stretches of time. Of course, it would be insane to expect someone who's new to reading, especially reading theology, which has a uniqueness to it than just reading in general, right? There's some heavy work going on mentally, heart-wise, practically as well. It would be foolish to expect them to suddenly be able to read for 2 hours, right? So how do you start getting to that point where you could read for 2 hours a day? You start with 5 minutes a day. It's better to do that than to read 30 minutes a day once a week and then just not have the stamina to keep going. In fact, if you want to get to a point where you're reading 30 minutes a day, start with 5 minutes a day and don't miss it as much as you possibly can. And when you do, don't miss twice. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, says this so clearly. For example, even though in my personal life, I've had to actually reduce the amount of theology reading I'm able to do right now because of personal family reasons, but I'm still able to put in the 30, 45, even 60 minutes a day most days between the various reading slots and extra reading time I am able to do. If it was a different season of life, I might be able to do an hour and a half to 2 hours, but that's just not possible for me right now. And it's only possible that it could be that large because of the consistency I had already built. And those are 7 tips to double your daily theology reading. If this has given you an itch to want to learn more about creating a full-fledged system around study in theology in your personal life, if you want to go deeper into this stuff, my Homegrown Theologian program is designed for everyday Christians who want to deepen their theology study, become the theological leaders that God calls them to be by growing in godly wisdom, reading the word, reading the books of the church that have shaped our theological understanding, and applying that to our lives in the various spheres that God has entrusted to us. So if that's you want to grow in this area, you want to build those good self-study theology habits, and maybe seminary is not the right option for you, this is an affordable program that is going to allow you to start doing that, and you can enroll today and get started. So go check that out down below in the description. Remember while you're down there to grab my Ultimate Reformed book list. And until next time, as always, God bless.